Morning Story, and today I'll be talking about the books I've read in October. So I had another successful reading month for October. I've read 8 books in October, which is good for me because I've honestly been enjoying a lot of books lately, and I'm just really happy that I've been reading a lot of good books lately. But before I even chit-chat some more, let's talk about the books that I've read in October. So the first book that I've read in October is Great Thorn by Crystal Smith. This is the sequel to Bloodleaf. If you haven't read Bloodleaf, Bloodleaf is about a girl who's coming from a royal family of witches, but she doesn't want to be part of it, so she runs away and disguises herself as a commoner, and then she tries to live a life outside of as a commoner, and that's basically the premise of the first book. And I end up really enjoying the second book as much as the first book. And I still like the characters. I really like the world, and I'm just really glad that I was able to read this. And I know that the third book came out a couple of years ago. I don't remember when this book came out, to be honest with you, but let me double check. This came out in 2020, so yeah, the sequel came out a couple of years ago, or the last book of the trilogy, so I do hope that I'll get my hands on the third book so I can finish out the trilogy. And yeah, I really enjoyed it as much as the first book. So yeah, I'm trying to remember what I rated, because sometimes I forget what books I rate what. Yeah. So yeah, I give this 4 stars. And the next book that I've read in October is Lying to Deep by Diana Urban. This is her a book that just came out this year, and this is about a group of kids that are on a cruise ship for a sponsorship, and then there was was it a sponsorship or just a program that it's a school program in the cruise, and then they discovered someone died. So yeah, that's basically the premise of it. I really like the characters. I really like the setting of this murder mystery book from her, and I don't know if I've read a lot of books that takes place on a cruise, but it's just gonna be really I just couldn't put this book down. I really liked our main character and the other characters. I just really liked how they're like, what happened, who did this, and all that. It literally, and I think this is definitely becoming one of my favorites from Diana Urban. I've read all 3 of her books that she released, and I know that she's had a third book, not third book on. She has a new book coming out next year, and I'm really excited for that just because I liked this author's books so much. And yeah, and it was a 5-star read for me. So I was wrong on how many books that I've read. I've read 9 books and not 8 books. So yeah, the next book that I've read in October is The Dane Dare by J.C. Lee. I think that's the author's name. Let me look up. Yeah, J.C. Lee, and this is the companion book to A Sweet Mess, and you're following a different characters from it. If you haven't read Sweet Mess is about a woman who has had a really nice date with this guy, and then she all of a sudden had a terrible review on her bakery, and she finds out that the guy that she went on a had a nice date with was the guy who gave a bad review on her bakery. So now he's trying to fix everything, and that's the premise from the first book. And this one, you're following one of her friends who decided to do a Dane Dare with this guy, and that's all I remember about it. And I tried reading this before, and it was a DNF, but then when I listened to the audiobook, I ended up more entertained for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I read A Sweet Mess on physically, and I enjoyed it, but with the Dane Dare, I was like, I DNF'd it for a while, but then I went back to it and listened to it on audiobook, and somehow I got more entertained from this. So yeah, I really enjoyed this as much as the first book, and I'm trying to think, yeah, I did give it the same rating as the first book just because I enjoyed it so much, and I definitely want to read the third book, which is called Booked on a Feeling or something like that. I don't remember. I know I definitely want to read that. So yeah, it was a 4-star read for me. And the next book that I've read in October is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, who is also is known as Rachel Hawkins, and this is about a woman who's trying to get over this breakup and all that, and then she just knows that she tries to not use magic in any way, and then she runs into the town's descendant that was cursed or something like that. I'm trying to remember on top of my head, but I just really enjoy this book. It just gives me a lot of Sabrina Teenage Witch vibes, because there are 2 or 3 other women who are like almost like her parental figures, like Sabrina's aunts were, and yeah, and it's really hard to explain this because I really enjoy this one, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to read the companion novels to it. I know the second book just came out either last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember when this one was published. I think it was 2020. I'm trying to remember 2021. So yeah, I was wrong. So the companion novel, this came out last year, and the 3rd book in this series is supposed to come out next year. So yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this, and I think it was a really cute story, and it was kind of perfect for the spooky season, since there's witches, even though I read those kind of books any time of the year, to be honest with you, but it was very fitting for Halloween, and yeah, this was a 4-star read for me. And the next book that I've read in October is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the 2nd book in a Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I honestly, if you haven't read the first book, it takes place in the same world as Caraval, but you don't need to read Caraval. Oh my gosh, I'm running blanks today. Caraval series before you read this one. Stephanie Garber did specifically say that you don't need to read Caraval to understand the world that Once Upon a Broken Heart does, just because they're set in the same world. You don't have to read Caraval before reading this series. And then in the first book you do follow, it's kind of hard to explain this book, just because I really, I enjoy it because it takes place in the same world as Caraval. You do follow Evangeline Fox and Jax. Those are the 2 main characters, and that's from what I remember. I just love the world too much that I'm like, it's really hard to explain, because I know it's a fantasy world that I loved, and yeah, I do really enjoy this one as much as the first book, but I really wish I'm glad that I read this physically versus the audiobook, because I remember reading Once Upon a Broken Heart and remembering that I didn't like the audiobook as much as the Caraval series, so yeah, that kind of disappointed me a bit, but reading physically kind of made it better for me, just because I really it made me feel like I feel more connected to the characters, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I still really enjoy this one as much as the first book, so yeah, it was a 4-star read for me. So the next book that I read in October is Dreaming Sun Volume 2 by Ichigo Takano. This is a contemporary manga series that tells a story about a girl who's run away from home, and after her family decide to ignore her, and then she meets this random guy in the park who allowed her to live with him with 3 conditions. One is to tell him the reason why she was running away, and then find his lost keys, and dreaming of finding love, and that's the premise of it. I really love this series so much. I just really love the characters, and they make me laugh, and by knowing how teenage girls do, how I used to be a teenage girl myself, I just love the main character. I'm like, I can relate to that, like having crushes on a boy and all sorts of things that happen in high school that I just like, yep, I can relate these characters so that much, and I just really love the characters, and I really like the story, and I can't wait to continue on with the series. So yeah, it was a 5-star read for me. And the next book that I've read in October is Fairy Tail Volume 1 by Hiro Mishima. This is a story about a girl who wants to join a wizard guild, and then she runs into a wizard that thinks was one of the members of Fairy Tail, but then it turns into a very messed up situation, and then she meets the real guy who's actually part of Fairy Tail, and that's basically the premise of the first volume and the first episode of the anime, and I love this series so much. I thank my husband Kevin for introducing me to this series. I honestly watched the anime before reading this, but reading this made me remember watching the first episode, and fall in love with the story, and yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if I want to get the rest of the manga series, even though the original series ended like in 2017, I think, and I'm just like, and we're almost done with the series, like watching the anime and stuff, so yeah. And I just want to thank my husband for getting this for me, because he knows how much I love Fairy Tail, and I love the characters and in the world, and yeah, I thank my husband for introducing me Fairy Tail, because he always encouraged me to try new things, and that's what, sometimes I have trouble pushing myself to do that, but and then with him knowing that I love the anime show so much, that he gave me the first volume of it, so yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, it was a 5-star read for me, even though I watched the anime first, but still, it was a 5-star read for me. And the next book that I've read in October is Gale Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is about a woman who almost had a near-death experience, and then she ends up making a list of things that she wants to do with her life, and then she meets this guy who ends up helping her accomplishing these lists, and I love this book so much. I love Chloe, I love Red, I love her sisters, and I just can't wait to continue on with the series, because each book of a series is told by different Brown sisters, so yeah, I'm really excited to see where their story goes, and yeah, I just love Chloe and I love Brown in this, and did I give us 5 stars? I better give us 5 stars, and yes, I did. I gave it 5 stars. I just love this series, and I honestly just can't wait to continue on with knowing what her sisters' stories are going to go, and I'm just really curious about it, but yeah, it was a 5-star read for me. And the last book that I've read in October is Caught Dead-Handed by Carol J. Perry. This is about a woman who is looking for another job, and she was about to go into a job interview in her hometown in Salem, Massachusetts, and then when she was in her interview, she finds a dead body of one of the radio hosts. So yeah, that was, and then she and her aunt tries to solve the case, basically, and I really enjoyed this one. I know I've read this before and DNF'd it in the past, but then I'm like, I'm giving it another try just because I wasn't in a mood for it at the time, and it was really interesting. I really liked the niece and aunt relationship, which you don't see in a lot of books, and I really liked how our main character is kind of struggling on where she wants to live after she gets a new job and all that, just because she was indecisive about what she wanted to do, where she wants to live, and I really liked the characters. I really liked the setting, because I always wanted to go to Salem, Massachusetts, and I hope I do it one day, and yeah, I can't wait to continue on with the series. It's been on my TBR for so long, and I'm just glad that I finally picked up, because I've been liking cozy mysteries lately, and I want to read more, and yeah, this was a 4-star read for me, and also, I just really like the cover. Gave me a lot of Halloween vibes, and I'm just glad that I read it when I did. So yeah, it was a 4-star read for me. So that is all for all the books that I've read in October. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and comment down below what you've read in October, because I would like to know. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button, click the bell icon so we know when I post new videos. Also, you can follow me on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, which all links will be down below for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!